Okay, one huge question. We constantly get messaged, DM'd, tweeted, emailed. You can name it.
Which we don't mind. We're just saying.
Don't mind.
It's a common, super common, popular question we
Very
get.
common question. Am I charging enough?
Mm-hmm.
So they tell us the story. Hey, just got asked from this PR company. Here's
Right.
the ask. Here's what I offered. Is this enough?
Mm-hmm.
And we want to talk to you about our rule of thumb when it comes out to pricing items on our blog.
Right.
I find,
and it's different for everybody.
It is different for everybody.
Let's just, before you get into that, we have to throw out the factors. You have to remember too. You have to look at how long you've been blogging.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a new blogger, your fees are obviously going to be different than someone who's been blogging. We've been blogging for 10 years. You have to see like where you are on social, like what the number. Listen, you got to look at numbers. It's like the one thing that everybody probably doesn't want to hear, but you have to look at numbers, and you also have to look at like where you are. I mean, there are a lot of people now we know that like don't touch Twitter, don't touch YouTube, but they don't understand why so and so is getting this fee. But this girl is on every single outlet, so she can show this brand, listen, I'm going to represent you on Pinterest and YouTube and Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and my blog. I mean, why would someone not jump at that?
Right, absolutely. I mean, I think the greatest rule of thumb when it comes to pricing is if I am sending out my price to brands at request, and I am getting yeses across the board without any fights back at me, then I am priced too low. Mm-hmm. There has to be some pushback. If there's no pushback at my fee, then my fee is too low.
Right. And Vera means like, if you say that someone offers you maybe, let's say, $100 to do a post, and you email back and say, listen, I only do this for $500, and they email you back within a minute or two or 5 minutes or like at least within the hour and say, not a problem, let's continue on. You probably know $100, you're pricing yourself too low. If they email back and say, you know what, I have to check the final budget, I have to talk to my superior, I have to see if we can make it work, then, chances are maybe you can meet in the middle. I think someone emailing you back immediately saying, nope, there's no way, we got to shut it down, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I recently, like 2 years ago, I doubled my prices just to give it a shot. Like I said, let me just see how this works. I was getting yeses. I used to not get a no. And I doubled my prices, and I said, let me just see, I just want to see what happens. And I started getting pushback on that new number, and I said, but I also still got work. Yes, I was still getting work, and I said, okay,
But when you stop and think about it, like 3 things that you were doing for that fee was 6 before.
Exactly. So I felt okay with losing work because I was still getting work and working less. So I said, okay, I'm comfortable here, even though I'm still losing work. It's still working out for me. And now I'm at the point where everybody is saying yes to this price. Mm-hmm. So now I'm overworked at this price. So in my eyes, I think it's time to maybe raise the bar a little bit.
Yeah.
That's my general rule of thumb. So everybody's price point will be different.
Right.
Everybody will have a different starting point.
Right.
But if it's yes too quickly, then I think you need to bump it up.
You have to bump it up.
Yeah. If you're not getting any work because your price is too high, then you got to lower it. I mean, I think that's the only way to do it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. So make sure, when you're like, where should I set fees? And you know what? Ask people. Like, ask people, and don't be afraid to have that person. Fortunately, we have each other we can turn to and say, listen, this is what I'm charging for this. This is what I'm charging for this. Our Twitter parties are probably still priced on the lower side.
Very low.
But, we've been doing them for so long, and we are comfortable with this price.
Yes.
And, it is something that we're okay with, but we can acknowledge to each other, we're probably too low on this.
Very low. We know friends that do them much higher than what we charge.
Right.
But
find people that you can talk to. Find people that you can ask. You can always come to us and ask us. We have no problem being honest with you. Like, hey, I think that actually is pretty high, or that is pretty low. We've been very open with our friends. We had a girlfriend recently that asked us about a video project. We thought she priced it way, way, way too low. And you know what? The people got back to her immediately saying yes to her price. So then she knew, you know what? I probably could have asked for $2,000 more, and I probably would have gotten a yes.
Yeah.
So, just don't be, I guess at the end of the day with the fees, know kind of where you think you should be, but don't be afraid to ask people. Ask a friend that you can feel safe with.
And it's very trial and error. Like, give a price out to one PR person, see how they feel, and then try something new with
And
somebody
don't
else.
be afraid to toss it back at them. You know,
Yeah.
I think one rule that Vera and I have always used when we're trying to figure out fees on something is don't be afraid to ask, you know, the PR person or the brand, hey, listen, what budget are you working with? Because you know what, there have been times where I have really gone way too low, and when they come back to me with the ballpark price, I'm like, wow, like okay, so now let's work. And then one thing that we've found is what price can you work with, and then I can tell you what I can do with that.
Yes.
So, you know, maybe they know they have $1,000. Well, then maybe they're coming back to you. You can then say, well, for $1,000, this is what I can do for you. And then let them say, that's not enough, or, oh my God, that's amazing. Yes, yes, yes. So that's always a safe way to go if you don't feel comfortable doing that money talk. Push it back as much as you possibly can.
Yep. So that's it for today's business little hustle
We solved
tip.
the money tip.
That's it. All
Done.
done. Now you're all set. Now everyone's all set.
Go,
Everyone
Ducklings,
raise your
go.
prices. That's what I want to say. All right.
All right, bye,
Moving on.
guys.